Hi, welcome to the Joe Roberts Show. Sorry for the delay there today. We are interviewing accredited investors or people on their way to being one. Today, I have a guest, Steve Lloyd, who I personally have known for over 10 years, has been a great mentor, friend, and partner. And I would like to have him give you background about himself. Go ahead, Steve.
How you doing today? Thanks a lot for having me on the show. Can you hear me okay?
All good.
All right, so my name is Steve Lloyd. I live part-time in Siesta Key, Florida, and part-time in Westchester, Pennsylvania. I got into real estate and investing about 15 years ago. I actually started to be an entrepreneur at a young age. I worked at a pizza shop, bought the pizza shop when I was 20, went to a real estate meeting when I was like 34, 35. One of my mentors and good friends and brothers, Dave Van Hort, to the meeting, and I was off of the race. I was in the mortgage business. We did mortgage at the Temple, built a huge real estate portfolio there with student housing. And what really captured my attention of what I really knew what I needed to do in life was learn how to raise capital in real estate. So I kind of became an expert in raising capital, expert in evaluating a deal. But I was able to finance a lot of capital. I would bring in private lenders when I was at Temple. We'd buy it with their money. I'd pay them a rate of return. We'd secure them with a note, the mortgage, confession of judgments, personal guarantees, assignment of rents. We did everything right, just like a bank would. And then after we got the property built and stabilized with tenants and co-signers by the parents, and I would take it to a local commercial bank. At that time, it was actually Conestoga. And that was really the big start. Then, some of the things that Dave taught me, I just kind of put on steroids. So me having the cash, it's in this, what we're coming up on, this horrible situation we're in right now, it's actually a big advantage for me because I think I already know the banks are starting to stop doing some lending. So I don't need the bank. I never go through the bank in the beginning. It's always using my private investor capital raised in money with a partner. It's the capital go in and just pay cash for things. So it makes it really easy. We don't have to go through the loan process. I don't have to create loan docs. They don't run my credit. The process of even worrying about a bank going out of business or, regulations changing. Somebody comes to me with a deal, if it's a real estate deal, I literally call my private investors and I show them how to be my bank. So it's pretty cool. People don't quite understand that, with their self-directed IRA and their regular money, a lot of people don't want to be in the stock market anymore. They can't take the ups and downs. And when you can get a consistent return over a long period of time, being attached to a piece of real estate, and if you're at the correct loan to value, and one of the things you can use is your IRA. Most people don't believe me when I tell them, but when I explain it to them and use their IRAs and they can get consistent with a secured asset, that's really key right now.
All right. Well, let's take it back and kind of go through your career and, to help put in perspective for the viewers and they could get better insight, and what steps they can take. How did you go from pizza shop to your first properties, and where did that capital come from and how did you raise that?
When I first started capital was one from the first money I raised from one of my best friends in California, Mike. Dave gave me the idea. I kind of put it on steroids, but it was a residential deal in Fallcroft, Pennsylvania, where I think it was $1,000 money, the asset. Once I got and that's why over time, after the run with Temple, and that was actually 13, 14 years ago, we're stuff at a discount going to have Um, I was able to come to me to give me more, vendors and people with you, and that just spread them. And then Carrie and I started holdings, which then we put in multiple assets. Today, I actually am very in what I'm doing. So I buy non-performing notes. I lend out capital to investors. I've done kind of like what I did at Temple back then, and then apartment buildings over $20 million. Hey, it's from coming to not going to to owning a pizza shop to go into a real that I own in the personal stuff. I own about with that. I just keep adding things to that. I mean, investments that a year and a half ago, Siesta Key, and I fell in love with it. Country just got ranked number 11 in the world, and I was able to pick up some ago, and now I'm in the vacation rental business, which was amazing up until days ago when everyone decided to cancel, and I got $60,000 worth of cancellations. But to me, that's okay. I mean, that sounds absolutely crazy, but it's given me time to rethink my life, refocus, get organized, where I want to go from here. Because really, the past years, we've had great conversations. Joe and I usually talk every Sunday morning about 7 o'clock in the morning. And we just go over what's going on this week, what's going on for the next month. We're creating a plan of what we're going to do. And really, our conversations for the past year was do nothing. Everyone thinks that you always have to be buying an asset or involved in real estate and using your money all the time. And, I've been talking to a lot of investors this past year, and they're like, what are you doing? What are you buying? I said, I'm raising capital. I'm selling. And I'm gearing up for hopefully a pullback. Now, you never know when that pullback's going to be, but you have to always have cash reserves on the side. But I looked at when I hear things like things are different now, they're not going to change. We got another 6 years to run with this bull market. They're the things that make me nervous. So I just decided to say, hey, we've created a good amount of wealth where we could sit back, we could sell things, which I've already sold 7 Temple properties in the past 2 months. So that was able to bring us in a lot of capital. We sold a mobile home park. We sold 3 apartment buildings in this past year. So this downturn, look, the downturn is, affects me in a little bit of way, but, nothing like it did 13 years ago. 13 years ago was like grab a bottle of Advil and just keep sucking down those pills because it was a nightmare. I remember pacing the floor and I said, I never want to be there again. So, we are very well fueled for the next 6 to 9 months. And it's great owning the new non-performing and the lending and I have a mix of things.
Well, that's great. And so you mentioned you have a great business partner. How did you guys run into each other? How did you decide to partner up? And how did you know it was the right person to move forward with?
Yeah. So I always, everywhere I go, I tell everybody my face. I was buying a couple properties at a time. I only owned about 10 or 12. That was probably because I get crazy, right? I take something little and I don't think small. So I knew I wanted to take 13 properties and make it into something really good one day. And I was actually at a company that I started with Dave Van Horn. They're still, very company today. They buy mortgages, but back you to have a bunch of they just and I always learned it. I don't know. I just move on, and it was a split. I was leaving. He was actually there, and so like 3 months later, I cut a little bit, and I said, what I can do. I can connections to buy the assets. It took Carrie about 2 or 3 months because I really didn't have that much. Too small for me to come over and leave PPR. But I said, look, we're going to be okay. I'm going to put this on steroids. And we did it together. And, it's funny, there is a chemistry that you have to have with your partner. And Carrie and I have had that chemistry. And I know that I could have only gotten so far by myself, and Carrie could have only gotten so far by herself. But, we have like this chemistry that's just amazing. Yeah, we have our struggles as a partnership, but at the end of the day, or when you go to bed at night, you want to put your head on the pillow and you want to have trust in your partner that the things you talked about that day are going to get done. And Carrie have that. I've never seen a stronger partnership. I know Carrie's her family. I think they're all into the Steve Lloyd's payroll. Her husband is rehabbing my house now. Her son was there. Her daughter Christy is amazing at marketing, so she's in charge of all my marketing now. And her son Steven graduated from Penn State University, so he's now working at Stone Bay. And Jessica does some things for me when I needed some extra help. So the only two things that aren't on the payroll in our house are 2 dogs, but I see that coming soon. So, you have to have trust in your partner. You have to have that feeling that she's going to have your back, because it's just like now, when things are good, they're good. Everyone's happy. But when things go bad, as soon as this happened 3-4 weeks ago, Carrie and I had a meeting and we created a plan. Carrie, what are you going to do? What do you think I should do? She's going, Steve, what do you think I should do? And we came together. We talked to the employees. We split up our responsibilities. I did what I'm good at. I actually called all 170 investors that I had and had a personal conversation with them for 15 or 20 minutes. Carrie had to adapt from being in an office where our employees have to get them set out at home. And she did an amazing job. And then we come back at the end of the week. She's like, did you get done what you needed to get done? I'm like, yep. Carrie, did you get done? Yep. So, I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for Carrie.
That's awesome. And so do you advise a lot of people to go out there and find a partner? I think sometimes we see people, meet others and they jump quickly into a partnership, maybe because they don't feel comfortable in the venture they're going to do. What's your opinion there? Are people better off going out by themselves or finding the right person to partner up with?
Well, one flavor of Baskin Robbins. Everyone likes a different flavor. I love creating strategic partners, I call them. So, for us, capital is our game. I've raised well over $100 million, probably close to $150 million. I actually am not that guy. I'm great with people. I'm great with teaching them self-directed IRAs and being. That's the way my mind works, is investing for our investors. When I do take on, I'll give it to you this. So I hear people all of a sudden they're getting into a partnership. They remember a partnership's like a marriage. You're having a contract that's joining you both together. And it's very difficult if it doesn't go well, because when things don't go well, you got to have fair exchange in life. And that's what a partnership is, having fair exchange, for me, it takes me a long time to bring on a strategic partner. Joe, you've been one of ours. And I remember when you came working out of my house about 6 years ago, and you and Lindsay and Bill came to my house. It took us about 6 to 9 months before we actually did a deal. So I knew you okay, and I didn't really know Lindsay that well, and I knew Bill very well. We became really friends when he was at Glen Mill Schools. And man, you talk about he created himself an amazing business there. But that takes time. I really look up with come to me and want to be a strategic partner, and I'll tell them no, but I'll watch to a year before I partnerships with them. Give them. I gotta say, it's really not. It's kind of funny. I really don't look at them as how smart are they in the real estate business. How smart are they at buying notes? I really look at who they are as a person with their family. I follow people on social media and see how they carry themselves. If they're, if they're out at the football games all weekend, if they're drinking, or if they're with their family and spending time with their wife and their kids. That's what Carrie and I look for. We look for character, because it's easy when you're making money, but it's real hard to keep that partnership when you're not making money. So partnerships are difficult. I've had many over the past, 20 years, and, most of them don't work out. I've been through a bunch of them. And, when you pick the wrong partner and you're not on the same page, I can tell you this, it is painful. One partnership almost cost me 1.5. It did cost me $1.5 million. That was a setback, but I'm like, people go, Steve, I want to stay on topic. So does that answer your question?
No, I mean, that was real good. I think that helps a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure everyone out there is very familiar when it comes to money, whether it's a business partnership or even a spouse or whatever that partner may be, that money is typically the thing that may cause problems. And so you always have to be on the same page with the person, with your partner, right? And so that'll lead us.
Well, I look at it this, Joe. So, sorry for interrupting you, but money's the byproduct, right? To me, you got to find that right partner to get through that whole transaction with them. And that has to go really well. So, your partner might be the construction part and your other partner might be the accounting part. Well, that partner out there, you have to understand your roles and responsibility when you start the partnership. Because I'm telling you, when it's 98 degrees out in August and you're in Philadelphia and the construction guy's pounding nails and getting the project done, he's calling the other partner that's sitting in 72 degree air conditioner, and you got to make sure you understand your roles. When you got to spell it all out, man. You got to write everything down, what your roles and responsibilities are, and make sure who you partner with has the character to go through bad times with you. This what we're going through right now with Carrie and I, it's like nothing's really changed for us. It hasn't. It's like, okay, let's see what we have. What are you doing? This is what we need to do. And this has been a great time to reflect and see if some of the things that we're doing in our company, if it's really what we want to do. I'm actually, looking at my strategic partners and which one of them I want to do more business with, right? Who's really performed for me over the past 6 years. Carrie's, setting everything up at home. I'm looking at how do I, maybe going forward, Stone Bay is just somewhere comes and invests and they get a rate of return. I'm looking at joint ventures now, things that I've never done before. I'm looking at, partnering on maybe a property in Siesta Key instead of me and Carrie owning the whole thing, bringing in another partner and giving up 25% if they have the money. So right now, as I move forward, people are like, what are you doing? Like, what are you going to buy? I'm like going, I don't know what I'm going to buy yet. I'm not really sure. Do I want that risk factor of more? Do I want risk factor of student housing? Do I want to buy, first mortgages or charged off first mortgages? I'm letting everyone go get crazy and go, we're diving in, we're going to right? And I'm gonna sit back and watch and see what comes in front of me. I'm not going to chase one asset class. I'm going to add maybe a little bit to every asset class. Look, I live in Siesta Key now. I mean, it's beautiful. I definitely want more assets here. I want to add more to the stock market. But everything's a little bit at a time, balance. Joe, one thing that I can explain to you, one of my mindsets, that when things get tough, the real estate and the note market, okay, let's just compare it to the stock market, okay? As the stock market is going down, I'm nibbling. I'm buying a little bit of Disney as it goes down. I'm buying a little bit of Microsoft as it goes down. So if we take a look at the assets that I now, come on, if I owned $120 million assets, they're probably worth $90 million right now, right? So I probably just took a $30 million hit. But it doesn't bother me because there's going to be new, cheaper assets to buy. So as long as I own and I'm not in trouble, which we're not, we're actually pretty strong. I'm balancing that every month to see how the rental market, if they continue to pay. But now look at the opportunity where I'm going to be able to buy assets at a lower price than they were last year, right? Why would I want to buy last year when everything was over, were suppressed at 4.5 on apartment buildings? off second mortgage, we're selling at 80 cents on the dollar. Non-performing notes were people were paying 50 cents. Now I'm going to pay half price.
Yeah.
So if I add to that new arsenal, and over time, the stuff that I own is going to go back up, and the new stuff that I buy is going to go back up. So that creates healthy investing.
It's interesting. A few days ago, I'm not sure when, but somewhere in the last week, I was having a conversation with somebody, about the marketplace and maybe when I'll start looking. And I was like, once this, specific broker reaches out to me to see if I'm, going to participate, I'll know there's less participants because he hasn't been reaching out to me. And it's just funny because yesterday I see my email and he emails is like, are you going to bid? I was like, oh man. So there's already people starting to, exit the space. And I emailed back, when there is no bidders, email me back.
Right,
so I'm looking for a lot less to minimal participants at a lot lower price. And I think it's still going to take a little while.
And Joe, that's why I'm not jumping in right now. That's why I don't know what assets are the right assets. I don't know what the assets are going to be the cheapest assets. To me, people are just going to sell off. If they were selling a property for $100,000, a month and a half ago before this crisis started, then they're going to try to sell that property for 90 grand. I'm a distressed asset buyer. I don't want to buy at 95 cents of the dollar. I'm going to wait till the pain hits in 5, 6, 7, 8 months. And I'm just going to sit and wait, CST, and then I'm going to go in because I really think that you're going to have 6 to 9 months to wait and see what assets classes really take a dive. You got to let it cultivate to the downside. And look, there's no reason to rush. I'm not rushing. So if you go out 9 months and let all these assets go down in value, you're going to have a year to year and a half to buy these assets. I mean, you really are going to have time. So I don't think now's the time to get the game plan and see what you want to buy. Now's the time to go out and talk to people about giving you capital and being your business partner as far as your private lender or someone's going to invest in the assets with you. This is the time to get your mind straight and get organized for the future. Joe, we always got to adapt, right? How many times have we adapted in the past 10 years?
It's changed a lot. It keeps changing.
Always adapting it to see what's in front of us. That's the great thing about an entrepreneur. Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Joe.
On the partnership, Melina has a question here that we could put up. What type of strategic partner were the best you've experienced so far? And not actual person, but what area of the business do you find is the best for you to have this type of partner?
It could be any aspect. That's what makes us completely diversified. So I would say, what are you, the person that they're good at, and what do they need a strategic partner for? Right. So, I mean, mine's capital. I know what I'm good for. Right. So I get the pick. I basically have 12 strategic partners, and I explained that earlier. So, I get to own $20 million. I'm partners, but 2 of my strategic partners are lease, right? I get to be partners with a couple no people because they're in that space. I get to pick the best of the best because most of these people, my strategic partners, I want you to find your weakness. My weakness is looking for assets. My weakness, is raising capital. So I want to partner with someone that has an expertise in buying distressed assets. So Carrie and I are, huge in not doing what we're not good at. I am good at evaluating building. I am not good at evaluating. Now take this lightly, a real estate deal. Yeah, I can evaluate a real estate deal. I'm not an expert in evaluating a non-performing second note pool with notes all over the country. That's not what I do. I don't focus on that. So we partner with people that are experts in that. We've done deals. Remember we did that deal down in Puerto Rico? It was amazing. Now, I was definitely nervous about, buying 50 some houses in Puerto Rico. And we sold that. We made a lot of money. Where was it? It was the fair exchange. Find a partner that can create fair exchange. You guys took down the assets, you worked the assets, and I gave you, I don't know, $3-4 million. But you weren't be able to get that deal done without me, and I wasn't able to get that deal done without you. But we had fair exchange. We had good communication on a monthly basis, giving updates on what we were doing. I think we needed more money. I came up with that. So roles, responsibilities, and finding a good strategic partner.
Thank you there. How about, through all your partnerships, maybe let's look at the other side. What are some things to actually look out for in a possible partner that could show signs of, not going well down the road? What are some things for people to kind of look out for or test maybe up front to make sure that this person is going to be a fit based on the lessons you've learned?
What is a weak strategic partner? Was that your question, Joe?
Yeah, exactly. What are the signs?
It's real simple.
Someone might not be a good partner to not get in business with.
Poor communication. Poor communication. One of the things we Carrie and I thrive on is communication partners. It's almost like some of them I talk to on a weekly basis. Some of them I definitely talk to all of them on a monthly basis. We never go a month without, everything's are. I want to know where they are. They want our money. So, it is actually, it's communication, character. There are the things, you're talking about what could go wrong. They actually, to flip it to the other side, the reason wrong is because of the communication part. So to answer the other side of it, the reason they could go is because of poor communication. I make sure you can ask any one of my strategic partners. I always go, what do you need? It could be just a phone conversation at 10 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock in the morning and going, are you okay? No, man, I got some problems going on here. And, do you need more money? Do you want to go have dinner and we'll work out this together? So that's where a lot of it's not a negative person, so it's hard to think that way. I have to step in when my strategic partners, it's not just about my strategic partners going and buying assets. It's about Steve and Curry being for them when they need to talk and vent and maybe re-strategize on what the original plan was. So lack of communication can destroy a partnership. If they're not telling me what's going on and the problems that they have, that's happening them into the moment, if they do come up in this business plan that we have or the assets that we bought, if they don't tell me that things aren't going right, I can't help. And that's a big problem for a lot of people because they don't want to tell people when things are going wrong. But that's why I keep up with them. I call and I go, hey, everything going good? What do you need? We've had tons of conversations, Joe. And the great thing about us is after our partnership kind of ended, we sold all the assets, we continue to talk on Sundays. It's just because I know you're going to need more money.
Hey, you know what?
I know why you call me.
Let's be honest. There's only you only get a couple handful of people throughout your life that you can trust and count on for being there. So you're definitely one of those people for me. So I appreciate it. And we got a little celebrating 10 plus years of friendship showing up on the screen. But one
got your flowers there.
One thing, I think is definitely very important for the people is if you're going to be in the role of lending money out to or partnering with is just making sure that that person or that company or whatever is managing their books properly, their financials. I think it's very important. A lot of times we see entrepreneurs don't manage their books well and they could end up into cash flow problems later down the road. So it can be a sign of how they manage their money. What do you think there?
Well, look, I mean, when I started to get bigger and I got to 13 to 14 projects, one thing that I didn't have is a controller. And that's why you come and join forces with me because, one of the biggest things I see, and it's actually with my strategic partners, actually, you're one of the best ones. Everyone else sucks. But I actually, with my strategic partners, 80% of the time and help them with their accounting. That is the weakest part that I see as an entrepreneur, someone in real estate, just an entrepreneur in general. They don't understand. It's not the asset that you buy. It's the management of the money. That is the whole deal right there. I don't care. I don't care if you're in Hawaii. I don't care if you're in Alaska. Wherever you're doing the deal, it all comes down to the management of money. I always say you can have the greatest slice of pizza, manage money, you're done. It's over. If you can't manage taxes, right? Am I right, Joe? If you don't have a good bookkeeper to tell you what's going on, to even, for payroll and taxes and keeping up with all these things that I don't want to do any of that. That stuff drives me crazy, right? Assets, liabilities, distribution versus W-2, depreciation on an apartment building. And I see all this money coming in at the end of the year, which is a good thing. I still get to take a $250,000 loss on my tax return, even though the cash came in. Explain that to a new entrepreneur. But, about 3-4 years ago, I said, if I wanted to be more successful and grow this to a massive company, I needed Kerry to teach me more on the accounting side, because I had to understand how it worked. So when I was participating in buying the assets, I understood more tax advantages and things like that. We're always looking for tax advantages. So the more I knew about my bookkeeping and the management of the money, which I'm very good at the management of the money, but as the taxes, that's more Kerry. She's an expert, phenomenal at that. She deals with the accountants. They're in the room. I listen, learn. I'm getting pretty good at it. But, if you're on your own, that's what's so hard about, being an entrepreneur and going in and buying all these assets, because you need a team. You hear it when you start out as a beginner, but I see very few people grow with a good, solid team. You need that. Craig Sapetti, who's our securities attorney. He's been our attorney. He's your attorney too. 14 years you've been my securities attorney. People go, oh, I want to start raising money. Call Craig. Yeah. Right? That's who you need to talk to. It's a very in-depth thing when you're taking people's money. And a lot of people I see stuff on social media. You never see me on social media or, talking like that. I'm going to be careful what I say right now. You have to be very careful when you're talking about raising capital and using people's money.
So what, when it comes to raising capital, right? You're definitely a top player out there when it comes to bringing investors on board to your deals and allowing them to participate outside of the Wall Street investments. How does one get started in raising capital and just even getting that first investor on board? Where do they find them? How do they go out and network? How do they build that relationship and trust?
Well, first of all, you got to realize the responsibility for it. Investors want to know 3 things. You got to teach investors this. You got to get them to know you. Investors want to know who they're investing in. They want to know what they're investing in, who, what, right? And then the final thing is the most important thing. They want to know how they're going to get their money back. And you got to take it, if you're going to be a professional money raiser and you're going to start this, it is the most serious thing you have to put into your business. Because I can tell you this, we have not had problems. And when you learn how to raise money, it just started out from members. Then it went to a good. And when you do the right thing, it just starts, and then it starts to grow and manifest into the dollars that people want to do good business with good people, good ethical people. And if you're reckoning for your deals, but I always call my investors. Thing I say I was going to do. Is there anything that I did wrong? I know what I did right. But if they feel, and look, there's 20 different people. You're going to get 20 different opinions. Get one to say, hey, you know what? I really didn't like this. I got my money back too early. I thought the deal was going to last longer. So you need to adapt, listen to maybe something that your investor you didn't do perfectly, and adapt. I know what I do well, but I always ask my investor, did I do everything I would say I was going to do? So for me, is in the real estate meetings, it is the last place that I look for money, because all those people usually there are actually looking for money, right? So, we don't pay exorbitant returns. Most of my investors are accredited investors. Most of them have a net worth over $1 million. So it's a good place. I had a choice to make about 6 years ago whether I wanted to go with some unaccredited investors or accredited investors. I chose accredited investors. It was a little bit harder to get started, but accredited investors hang out with accredited investors. So they're in that millionaire circle where they have $1 million worth of assets, or they make $300,000 a year if they're both married. But it's that connection. I actually look for people. I hope none of my investors are on the call, but I don't really look for young investors, because the young investors really want the higher rate of returns. I look for people. The best investor for me is 55 and older. They've made their money and they're looking for a fair return over a long period of time. But you got to know what you're doing. Like 80% of my investors are with Camaplan in Pennsylvania. And if I'm the money raiser and I don't understand self-directed IRA, you need to learn them, because it's 80% of the capital that I raise. And people just don't understand that they can have an IRA and they think their 401k and their IRA has stocks. They don't understand alternative investments. And if I can take that might want to give me money and I can educate them just regular money, they can use their retirement money to be able to invest with me, total game changer. And the bulk of people's money, a lot of people don't have just around. It's usually invested somewhere, but their IRA might be in the stock market and they want to have some different options. So if you have to know what you're talking about with the investing, and teach the potential person that's going to give you them on what the different options, how they can invest. So that's what I'm really good at. Sitting down with someone, going, you have regular money or IRA money? The bulk of the money is IRA money, especially when they're 55, 60, 70 years old.
Got it. And so when it comes to the IRA money, you mentioned Camaplan. Who is Camaplan and what do they specifically do?
Yeah, Carl Fisher is a good friend of mine. His son Ryan is a key player over there, and his sister Mag partner. They're in Pennsylvania, and all they really are, you can have your money at Fidelity, and all you have to do is roll it over to Camaplan, roll your IRA over to Camaplan, and there's no penalties. People think that you're like taking this money out and moving it. You're not. Fidelity is basically a custodian for you to invest, or you can go in there and buy stocks yourself now. But invest mutual fund, they're putting you in a group of stocks in a mutual fund. Is moving your money over to Camaplan. The fees are extremely small. It's like $225 a year to have an investment. So it's just a custodian for you to be able to have they'll do the paperwork for you and the transaction of the deal, not pick the deals for you. They're not going to give you investment advice. It's great because you can move your money over to Camaplan. You can buy an investment property. You can buy a rental in your area and whatever cash flow you make on that IRA money, or whatever the value you sell it for, and you make $30,000, $40,000. I'll go back into your IRA tax. Plan is just a custodian your retirement money, and it is phenomenal. I actually just paid somebody back. We're paying them back today, like $200,000. This person found a property at the beach for like I think he's paying $900,000, and that $900,000 is coming from his Camaplan IRA account. So he's buying that $900,000 property with his IRA money, and then whatever profits that he makes, even on the cash flow or on the sale, out of the sale, let's just say he makes $300,000 in 8 years after he sells that property, that whole $300,000 will go back into his IRA tax-free. It's phenomenal. It is, Joe, it's kind of funny. All these people call me and they go, what are the best tax benefits out there? And it's hard to find tax benefits, but for me, you can say whatever you want. You can type in whatever you want. question. For me, it's been self-directed IRAs. It's taking my traditional IRA that I had when I was actually a truck driver at the Delaware time. I moved that to Camel Plan, and then over the years, I slowly, rolled that money over to a Roth. Now, 100% of my money, a Roth IRA at Camel Plan, and for me, I only do private lending with that. So when I do private lending, I'm charging 15, 16, 17, 18% on my money, and I get consistent returns at 60. Probably I average about 15% returns in my Roth, which I'll never ever pay taxes on the profit. How much better can you get than that, Joe? Come on, scream at me, yell at me.
You can't get anywhere better in the U.S.
Right, and I try to explain these things to people, and they just, it just goes in one ear and out the other. I want that. I can't tell you how many guys, they're not kids anymore, but how many guys that I mentor between, and they go, what should I invest in? I said, the first thing you have to, if I'm going to be your mentor, you have to open up an IRA. That's the first thing. If they're not willing to upload an IRA, I'm not going to mentor them. Because to me, that's the number one thing. If they can start at 25 years old, and it's just about getting started, Joe. It's not, most people go, I don't have the money to invest. I don't have the money to start investing money. No, that's, you need $500 to open up an account, and you probably need $50 a month to get started. That's what everyone's problem is. It's always like anything in life. They want to do something, but they're worried about getting started. And a lot of my 25-year-olds go, well, I don't need that money till 60 years. For 40 years. I can't use that money for 40 years. And I'm like, well, I can tell you this, you'll have $5 or $6 million in there, and you won't have to worry about retirement, and you'll be laughing at all your friends when they're broke and they're going to work till they're 70 and 75. Nothing more powerful.
Yeah, I agree. I can't agree more. Fidelity and all them are basically Wall Street managing your retirement account, where when you go to a self-directed account, you take control of directing where you want your retirement funds to go. And that allows you access to other investments that typically can do better than Wall Street. Would you, fair to say?
Yeah, well, look, it's nice to be able to control your money. I can buy Microsoft, but I don't know. Look, I think Microsoft is going to go up. I think it's going to go up in value, but guess what? It just dropped 20%. At the dot-com bubble, I remember some microsystem, it went from like 80 to 2. So, and that's when I don't like giving up control with my money. With my personal money, I like to have control. So if I take my IRA money, which I don't do individual stock with my IRA money, I'd rather have control of my IRA money, invest it where I want it to be, and I get to dictate the returns that I want. That make sense?
Yep. And so
I like having control with my investment.
That's good. And where can people, how do you advise people to kind of get started on that? What actions should they take today?
Google. Google self-direct and call Camel Plan, ask them for a brochure, go on the their website, which is camelplan.com. Call me. I probably got in the past 5 months, I'd say about 20 different people started. Now, nice. If you cannot start Camel Plan if you're just starting out. That's not where you start if you're just beginning with $500 or $1,000. I actually take people to Vanguard.com. I get them to open up an account. I have them open up 2 accounts. One account is an IRA, regular account. But if we're talking about IRA, I get them to open up that account with $500 or $1,000, and then I tell them how much can you afford every month to put in that account, and I have them get started. And then once they get $10 or $15 or $20,000 in there, then I think the option is to move it over to Camel Plan, and then you can diversify it out to where you want to. But you don't start there. If you got $50, $100, $200,000, you can roll your money over there. But if your question was, how do I get started? If you're in the beginning, then I would start with just a traditional Vanguard account.
And you're saying,
and I have it.
Guys, so you're saying basically have a traditional account, build it up for a few years, get some money in there, enough that you could kind of direct it into an investment that has a minimum, that your account supports, and then move it over to a CAMA plan or another self-directed custodian.
Yeah, I should be interviewing you.
Right, we're just having a conversation.
You said it in like, why'd you ask me the question? You said it in like 20 words. I took 300 words. Come
That's
on,
good.
Man.
Everyone likes everyone's.
Just go, Steve. Just go, Steve. I'm going to answer this question for you. But Joe, I want to talk about a topic. I'm going to skip you asking me a question.
Yep.
What really gets me upset and what infuriates me is, as an entrepreneur and a lot of guys into the real estate model that they choose to do, drives me crazy that they put all their money, all their efforts in, basically all their money. They keep reinvesting. They keep everything they make in the business, and they go, well, this business that I have, retirement fund, and I keep my head because, one, you're not, two, that business is probably a taxable thing you're going to have. Joe, am I correct about that?
Yep.
It's going to be a massive tax consequence. Can you hear me?
There we go. Coming back again.
So, it just bothers me when everybody puts all their money in. When someone puts all their money into their business that they're growing, they think that that's probably going to be their problem they're going to have when they retire. So that's why I tell Alberto was amazing the other day. Some stock saying to go, he's a professional investor. Okay. I think everyone should own pieces of real estate. I think people should be directing their money, little piece into the mutual funds. If they don't know how to trade stocks or buy stocks, just buy a basket of a mutual fund with it. Have other investments. It is the best thing that I did like 6 years ago. I used a dump into my business, and I learned that's just not healthy. If you just think of this right now. Unfortunately, if you own a hair salon right now, and you put all your money in your hair salon the past 10 years, how devastating would that be right now? You had one hair salon, you made more money, you opened up another hair salon, you made more money, and now you got 3 hair salons, and you have really not a whole lot of savings, no diversified assets, and now this virus hits, and your hair salons are completely out of business, and it's going to probably take you, 2 years to build that back up. Where if that person with the hair salon was diversified a little bit in the stock market, even though it's got hit, that person could be adding more. If they had some money at CAMA plan and owned 2 or 3 pieces of real estate, you can't have all your money into the business that you own. It's been a catastrophic mistake for people time over time. I hope that helps a lot of people. You need to have your money in other places other than your main business.
I agree totally. And Alberto's chiming in. He wants to know, what is your favorite stock, and only name one?
Well, I don't know if it's my favorite stock, but Alberto, was that question from Alberto?
Yep.
So my favorite stock is because he's pounded it in my head for the past, it's a little running joke now, it's Amazon. My favorite stock is Amazon. But he's convinced me to buy Amazon, but it's really hard to have money and buy one share of stock that costs you $2,100. So we all have this misconception. It's all percentages, right? I mean, if you buy, only 2 shares and you buy 100 shares of something else, if the one with 2 shares goes up 20%, you made 20%. It's kind of logical, right? But actually, my favorite stock is Microsoft. I love Microsoft. Artificial intelligence picture, they're in the cloud. Amazon's in too, which people don't know. But I think Bill Gates is has built. Just think about what Bill Gates did. He built a company 30, and it's still one of the greatest companies in the world right now. That is unbelievable. impressive. And now he can take his money and help the world, hopefully, him and Warren Buffett,
And that just,
with the charities that they do.
yeah, that goes to show how much patience you need to have and how long something actually takes in life to build something really big and really great, right? I mean, I think a lot of people think 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, but if we look back at Amazon, Microsoft, I mean, these are all 20, 30 plus year old companies that no one really knew then. And all of a sudden they think they just popped up overnight.
Yeah, the instant success, like Elon Musk, right? All of a sudden, Elon Musk is, he has Tesla, right? No, it took him 15 years. It took him 10 years. What we learn is these 30 and 35 and 40-year-olds come to me and they go, I want to be like you. I'm like, yeah, well, you better get some Advil and you better have patience. And there's three good assets. You can buy 3 good assets. One bad assets can ruin those three good assets. So, this is it's a journey. Investing is over time. You create wealth over time. You have to go from 1 property to 15 properties and 20 properties. The problem with most entrepreneurs, Joe, the biggest problem they have is they don't have patience. I hear so many people that have been in a business. They started a business 3 years ago. I meet them today. I'm in business. It's 3 years. I'm not making any money. I quit. I'm done. I'm shutting down the business. And I just laugh. I go, okay, so you just put 3 years of your life into this business. Now you're going to go open up another business. And you know what's going to happen to them? They're going to have that business for 3 years, right? They're going to get it to a point. They're not making enough to go start another business. Or, I love the investor that comes to me and they own, 35 properties. They own a little bit, and now they want to buy $20 million apartment buildings, right? One of the guys I respect out there is Jason Shorn. Jason Shorn, I've known him since 20 years, 25 years. And what's so impressive about Jason is that he never business. It's amazing. One of the most successful entrepreneurs I know. He never got into apartment buildings. He really doesn't do private lending. What he does is a single family home, and he's mastered it. And he owns a couple hundred of them. And he went to Williamson Trade School, did his first deal when he was 19 years old. And I think most of his properties are paid off now. And then he flips in the range of the $400,000 to $600,000 range. He has a model, and he never left that model. And he did it consistently over a phenomenal amount of wealth for him. So, entrepreneurs, stick to what you know. If you're successful buying single-family rental properties and you have 35 or 40 of them, or you're successful at commercial, don't jump over to, a 400, because it's a whole different beat you have to learn, and so it's about not staying focused and getting off track. As an entrepreneur, create your business plan, which mostly no one has. Create your business plan and follow, and don't be enticed by someone else that's making money. Because not really making money, but that guy's making money in the non-performing note. They don't want to do notes. So now they're under core business, right? Because they're more of a secondary. And I see it all the time as an investor. What do? I partner with strategic partners that buy charged-off second mortgage. I lend private money, and I buy apartment buildings and mobile homes. But I do. So guys telling me, you got to do Bitcoin and you got to trade and you got to, and I just think it's ridiculous. It's just it pisses me shit. Master what you know, right? And you're going to be an over 10, 15 year period going to be wealthy. But Joe, how long did it take? It took 7 years. It took a while. It took longer than that. Yeah. It just takes a healthy, successful business.
It seems like everything takes at least, at minimum, 3 to 5 years, at least. And then really to get great results is 10 years. So I think if you're looking at getting getting into something, you should ask yourself, hey, would I enjoy and be happy doing this 10 years out from now? And if you are, then I think you're going to set yourself up for a lot more success, right?
Yep. If people go, what are you going to be doing in 10 years? I'm going to be raising capital, buying notes, buying apartment buildings and mobile home parks. What are you going to be doing 20 years? Buying mobile home parks, apartment buildings, and lending money and buying mortgages. That's what I'm going to do the rest of my life. Because I love it, and I don't know any other investments that are business. I don't know. There are, but I don't know any other world. And I don't want to learn any other world because I've mastered this, and it's been good to me.
So from Alberto from earlier, he says, you know, what's the number one investment that you would recommend? And only pick one, please.
I'll tell you. My number one investment is lending money. Lending money to a real estate deal in a first position note at 60% loan to value with my self-directed Roth IRA. And I'll answer you, Mr. Alberto. I believe that I don't have to do any work when I'm a bank. Think about when you own a home, and think about when the lender calls you and asks you how you're doing. They never do they? They only call when there's something wrong. So to me, that's a pretty passive investment where I don't have to do anything and make a consistent return over a long period of time tax-free. So if I put that money in a real estate property, I have to deal with a tenant. If I have to put it in an apartment building, I'm dealing with a partner and I'm dealing with tenants. If I buy that non-performing note, I got to create a workout. If I put that investment in the stock market, I got to pay attention to stocks. But really, if I make that investment, if I make a 65,000, if I lend money at 60 cents or 65 cents on the dollar, we just tested it. Well, not quite. We didn't. We tested it back, 12, 13 years ago. The market went down 30, 40%. Well, that was a pretty much break even with my money if I had to take the property back. So me lending in a first position at 65% loan to value, getting a 12 to 14% return in my Roth IRA.
That sounds good.
And if Alberto, only give me a call.
you'll help him manage his money.
That was a jerk. You. No, he's man, he blew me away.
He's definitely, he's quiet, but I talk to him often too. And, he's busy in the background acquiring properties and assets for himself while he's, taking on his full-time role and just kind of enjoying himself and his life and also his wife. So I'm very glad to hear that he's doing well. So, when it comes back to the business aspect, what have you been doing the last month? What are you doing the next couple months? What are you taking this time to do in your business to set you up for more success in the future?
Well, I think I touched on it, but it's kind of crazy. The past 2 months, even before the virus started, I just wanted to transform my life. I've struggled with my weight my whole life. I came down here and, it started to happen with the virus. And I said, you know what, this is the perfect time to really create a game plan and get every aspect of my life 100% at the best of my ability that I can get it. And, when I came down here, a little off topic, but I came down here and I went to the grocery store. And the doctor, I was talking to Dr. B, he's like, Steve, this is going to be bad. You need to buy, a fair amount of food. And I went to the grocery store. I guess it was emotional, and I bought the wrong foods. And I went 4 days, and I put on like 5 pounds, right? Potato rolls, filet mignon, steaks, prime rib. I was cooking on the grill. I got the pool here. I got the beach right there. And I just said, man, I got pissed off at myself. And I woke up in the morning, and I said, this has got to end. I'm done. I'm done not paying attention to my health. This is the perfect time. There's so many people suffering in the world right now with this crisis. It's I'm in this house. I'm not doing anything. I'm not going anywhere. But it's a perfect time to get my health in my whole entire life together. And that's what I did. I called a friend of mine. He sent me the diet. I wasn't too happy about seeing cottage cheese, yogurt, blueberries. What's for dinner? Turkey breast. Are you kidding me? Turkey breast. All vegetables, which I do like vegetables, and fish every night for 30 days. So I actually have lost today. I lost like 3 or 4 pounds the first couple days or 5 days, and then he put me on it. Today was my first 7 days on the diet. I lost another 7.5 pounds, so it was pretty good. So I am going to lose 30 more pounds. That's the number one thing I want to do in my life. But over, what I'm planning for is I'm talking to my investors. Create the game plan, what you want to do over the next year when we conquer this virus and we're able to move on and buy. Talk to people that might want to invest in you. What kind of assets are you going to buy? What areas are you going to buy? Are you going to buy notes? Do you want to lend money? Do you want to get involved in apartment buildings? Start partnering with you. Because when you're taking money from people, you're basically partnering with. I've been telling everybody for the past year to not really give me money now, but when we do have a pullback in the market, get ready. So we have a tremendous amount of money sitting on the sidelines right now, ready to go and buy assets. But, take your time. See maybe who you want to be strategic partners with. Find out who the best wholesalers are. Start calling the banks and see what's going on. Start calling asset managers and see what's going on. Call title. Don't use one real estate agent. Use 5 real estate agents. Use 10 real estate agents. Get these assets wherever you possibly can. But the biggest thing is, Joe, have a plan. Yeah. Ability partner to communicate about what we do. I know you talk to other people. Over the next couple of months, go, what are you doing? What's your strategy? Can you help me out? Do you have any different ideas? I'm talking to as many people as I can right now. I've been in Siesta Key for, I think, 3.5 weeks now, almost a month. This is the God's honest truth. Pinky swear. I'm telling you, over the past month, I have probably talked to a little over 200 people. 200. I've been on the phone all day long, all night, creating a plan. I'm waiting for here. It's a sad situation here. When I first got here, the beaches were packed, the village was packed. I know what hurts my soul a little bit is because these people that are here, they're not a big investor like I am. They don't own $100 million worth of real estate. They're just trying to retire and have an asset, right? They got their home in Wisconsin, or I met people from Canada and they bought a house in Siesta Key. They rent it out from December till May. They make their mortgages, their expenses are $30,000 a year. They get to come here 2 times a year. They bring in a rental income for $26,000. They get the visit for $4,000 a year, and they're paying down their mortgage and they're creating wealth for them. I can tell you on this key, just like anywhere else, there's nobody here. There's usually about 3,000 rentals on this key. There's no rentals right now. I've been up and down. I've been biking every single morning, 15 miles. I've been walking at nighttime back up to the village, and it is the most horrific situation that I can sit here and see the amount of money and wealth and the stress that our people are going through. But then what do we do in our life as a distressed asset buyer? I'm going to be contacting people here. I want to spend, a good portion of my life here. So I don't look at, I feel bad sometimes when I take someone's property or I'm negotiating, which is if you give this the example, I want more vacation rentals here, but you have to flip it over. I'm going to take people's problems away from them. When people aren't paying in a mortgage or a reperforming mortgage, I don't look to take their home. I look to get them back on payment, but it's usually something that they weren't able to control. It's a health, divorce, job. They get laid off. That's what creates the distressed assets. But I feel like that's what I'm here for, to take people's problems away from them and help them with their problems. So it's a different that I have.
So what is it
but
about?
There's going to be a lot of properties here. So talking about strategic partners, if anybody has a lump sum of money that they want to own a vacation rental in Siesta Key, let's partner, baby. I'm ready to go.
There's Steve's info at the bottom.
I'm a pretty white boy, but I got a little tan going here. I'm starting to like it. Look at those. Look at those. We're getting bigger.
So, Florida always seems to be in a lot of people's conversation throughout life. Like, hey, I want to have a place in Florida, or I want to go on vacation in Florida, or whatever it may be. And then the next question is, well, where in Florida? I mean, it's a really big state. So, what is it about the Key or Siesta Key that hit you and you knew it was the right spot for you?
Okay, there's gonna be some people mad at me, but there's nobody here from New York, Philadelphia, or Washington. All right, so everyone just stop watching the call. I can tell you 95% of the people are from the Midwest, Wisconsin. I don't know what they're just the nicest people in the world. Okay, two is we'll back up. How do you get here? You can take off from Philadelphia, fly in the Sarasota airport. If I take the 8:15 flight, I can be at the house 8:15, 10:30. I can be at my house at 11:30 and be on the beach at 11:45. So easy access out of Philadelphia, easy access out of New York, and where I know most of my people. You can fly into Sarasota. If you got to fly into Tampa, it's still only an hour and 10 minutes from here. It's a very affluent key. Things are not cheap as far as real estate assets, but I can tell you there's no flashiness like Miami. I think since I've been here on the Key, I've seen like 2 Mercedes S550s. I've seen 2 McLarens and maybe 1 Lamborghini, and that's it. Everybody else is like simple people. It's flip-flop t-shirts, collar shirt at night time when you go out to dinner. And I have never since I've been coming here for over a year now. The sand is white. It's quartz. Like it in the world. I've never seen anything like it, and I've been a lot of. It's big. It's wide. The people are nice here. The Key is 8 miles an hour, so it's not a tiny key. You have Casey Key. Then you have a city that's a city. Walk down to the Ana, and then you go over to Norman Circle Key, your Longboat Key, 15 Key. So I did, and it was the past year or the past 6 months. I got like, wow, this is pretty awesome, right? Everyone's doing everything every single night. Pieces the water time, but can I create a life? I was coming for like 5-6 days, and hang out. You can't do that every single night, right? So to figure out how much. I'll tell you, after this crisis that happened down here, and I saw, and I still think I'm pretty young, around 50 years old, but I went out when I said, and I'm really going to get in. I'm not going to let Alberto, because he's been through the challenge with me for the past 10 years to help me. I went, and I'll never forget it. You have those moments, and the light goes off. I get the bike Sunday morning. I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to go find the sunset Sunday morning now. And I'm going down the road, and an osprey flies over my head. This amazing bird fly. I get out. I'm doing my band workout, my push-ups, and a dog. The intercoastal. I'm just going there like, this is like amazing. Like, I don't get any dolphin while I'm walking up and down the street. So it's just been a cool. I'm hoping tons of people to me. In Westchester, nobody wants to come visit. It seems like I've been getting a lot more phone calls lately about people wanting to hang out with me, and I'm thankful for that. But I think it's a bunch of BS. I think they just want to come hang out with our 7 in Siesta Key.
Maybe they want your success to rub off on them a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? That's part of the journey right now. It's part of the things that we're trying to get through. You know, what do we really want in life? Do we want to work 19 hours a day? Do we want to work 12 hours a day? Do we want to spend more time with our kids, our family, our wife, our aunts, our uncles? Maybe it's a simple, you know, getting locked in. Everyone's been complaining about it, but it's given me a time to, you know, totally restructure my life. That's what I'm doing. I'm restructuring my life for the next, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Me and Carrie have been talking about a lot of different things that we want to change, that we're going to make better. You know, Carrie's under a lot of stress a lot of time. I don't want stress for her. I don't want stress for her husband and her family. I've been going through this on social media, live my best life ever, right? Live my best life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's really what we're here to do, but we just forget about the simple things in life, which we can keep them simple if we want to. You know, we choose to what our days look like. We choose to pick what our weekends look like. We choose. We want to have to be a million consistent, make money, and simplify your life. I know buying my dream home on the Intercoastal. Well, that's all changed. I don't need that house on the Intercoastal. I'll get a deal. It's not going to be my dream house. You know, I need a kitchen, living room, lead a good life, to have things.
Yeah, great. And I think Joe Lopez had commented, have you swam out to the sandbar yet? Is there a sandbar there?
I did not swim there. Yeah, unfortunately, swim out there. We went there by in good shape, but actually it's not that far of a swim. But this actually the last 2 months ago, it's actually gone. So this is kind of weird. I feel like a redneck. We take a 20-foot pontoon boat and up to Key in St. Armand and stop a longboat, and it's called Beer Can Island. So that's where we've been hanging out with lately. If you want what are like the it's all in the area of Longboat Key. So yeah, I know where you're talking about. It's great. A lot of people, it's gone. It's not there right now.
That's good. And as we're coming, closer to a wrap here, what do you see as the greatest and most positive things that will come out of this lockdown for yourself?
Better health, more strategic partners, better assets, cheaper assets, reorganizing my Joe. One thing that I just want to touch on, how, me being positive, right? I am being positive. I've been through a lot of things in my life. And I think that we, especially this time, this is a great lesson, even though it's a horrible tragedy for nurses and doctors, to get yourself together and decide to, really, I don't know, in being positive. I mean, look the t-shirt, be the best you. That's from my buddy James Levins. Be the best you, right? And you need to be positive. You need to get an accountability that keeps picking you strong. Negativity is anywhere. It's the biggest thing that I cut out of my biggest thing. If someone starts dragging me down out of my life like that, thinking about it, right? But it's about getting up and what that day to be like. I have this saying that make today the best day ever, because you're never going to get it back. Once we go to bed tonight, this day's gone. So, one thing that I do a couple things. I actually have an index card, and it's right next to my toothbrush. And then goals on it. So every time I sit there and brush my teeth, I look at my every day, and it gets in my. And I'm telling you, it's one of the things where I ended up here, because I thought I'd be like in this area, 10 years from now. But I think that I wanted to be on an island. I wanted to live an island life. I ended up in Siesta Key faster than I thought I would than it was actually written down on that index card. So, you know, if you got to get this, stop watching TV. You got to put positive. You know, what you concentrate on is what you're going to have. These little cliches and these sayings are so true. Who you surround yourself, the same. You are a product of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And that's who I am. Good, quality, successful, people. And, you know, it's okay to get down. Since I've been here for a month, I've things, but 4 or 5 different times I've gotten down. But what did I do? You know, one of the things that's really helping me stay positive and get through the day right now is creating a plan the night before. I have that for what I'm going to do the next day, the night before. I plan. It's getting up. I'm taking a bike ride or I'm jumping rope. I'm going to have breakfast. I'm talking to Kerry. I'm talking to strategic partner, investors. I actually almost have my breakfast, lunch, and dinner planned out for the whole next day. I noticed when I first got here, when I didn't have a plan for the day, it led to me getting down because I was like, oh, what am I going to do today? Then the day was halfway over and I really didn't get anything done. Put Tony Robbins in your life. Put some self-development people. If you really look at it, you know, I tell people to write down on the right-hand side why their life is so good and what's in their life and who's in their life and what are the great things in their life. And usually they can easily write down 25 or 30 things. And then I ask them, what are the bad things in their life? And only 2 or 3. We concentrate on the 2 or 3 and really being grateful for the 25. So I'm a huge proponent of being positive, motivated. You know, I just don't know anyway, because we know life is hard. We all know. Everyone listening to this call or going to listen to this call know that life is extremely. You need a team and you need help and you need somebody can call me or email me or IM me. I'll talk to them. You know, a lot of people are struggling right now of the unknown. Don't bother me. A lot of people, it could just destroy their mindset. They don't think we're going to get through. You know, yeah. I've helped about. I'm not going to this week, but you know, they reached out. I reached out to someone to see how they were doing, and they said I'm doing really bad. And you know what? It was just a phone call. It ended up being a 40-minute phone call of going, well, let's get to the root of the problem. Why? And it was because they were reading all the newspaper articles that we're never going to come out of this, and our life has changed forever, and years, and we're never going to go back to work, and I'm not going to have a job. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're so overwhelmed. So we just walked through it. Within 40 minutes, we were laughing. I had her positive, and it made me feel good because I love helping people.
That's good. And just as a reminder, Jen, you know, Patrick's asking about email address. Steve's contact information is at the bottom of the screen. You can find him on Instagram, Facebook, Bigger Pockets, or you can email him right here, steve@stonebayholdings.com. And, you know, any last words you'd like to leave people off with today?
You know, just get positive, get motivated, you know, dream big. It all sounds like crazy cliches, but, you know, change your life. You know, take people out of it from before 3 or 4 months ago that, you know, really wasn't helping you get through forward. You know, just win, baby. I mean, this is a great life as an entrepreneur. When I was talking to someone, they tell that 2 weeks vacation, you know, as hard as you work, you can have complete freedom in your life. Money, nope, it's not money for me. The money's good. It's just, you can always make more money, right? But it's freedom. I have freedom to be here. I have freedom to go back. But just know that everything is going to be okay. We are going to get through this problem. Put the right people about you. Right now, you're going to find out who's got your back and who doesn't get your back, right? I just want to say, it's going to be okay. Keep investments in wealth a long period of time. And anybody needs help, you can email me, you can IM me. I'm very accessible, and I succeed. And that's where I stand in life. I believe it's part of who I am to help people get to where I'm at. If I don't know I still want you to have the best possible life you possibly can. And we can do it all by helping each other.
Well, I appreciate that. And we'll wrap it up there for today. And thank you for coming on. And, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. And thank everybody for showing up to watch this great episode. And we'll look forward to seeing you again next week with our new guest. Thank you.
All right. Thank